Welcome to LearnWake. This is Brandon Judd, and I'm responding today to a video analysis request that has been uploaded by user specificgravity1. And this is on a heel-side wake jump that results in a fall by what looks like here it says Kenzie. And then in the description, he says, "My 9-year-old daughter is trying to jump the wake. I know she's not straightening out. We're working on that with some of the LearnWake drills. Recently, she has started this bad habit of raising the handle in the air, which seems like it pulls the front of the board into the water. Any drills or suggestions to keep the front of the board up in the air and to cut down on these type of faceplants?" Absolutely, we can help you with that. And it looks like Kenzie is on the right track, and it looks like she's confidently edging in. I love her approach. We're going to work on a couple drills today, or rather I'm going to help you navigate through a couple of these drills so that you can teach her, you can even show her the video, but you can teach her how to adjust for this so that we don't repeat some of those hard falls, because they're no fun. So before I get into it, what I'll have you do is I'll have you, just so we're all on the same page, I'm going to have you watch this video. It's called Proper Weight Distribution on Errors. You may have already seen this one, but this perfectly describes what's going on with her in this video. And there really is no like one perfect fix for this. It's just, it comes with experience and it comes with some practice, but I'm going to give you a drill that's going to accelerate your comfort level in the air and also be able to teach you how to control your body position a little more and what ways you can fall. So this is a combination of two types of drills. It's a how to properly fall if you're feeling uncomfortable in the air so that we can avoid these bad edge catches. And then the other one is how to encourage the proper weight distribution on the takeoff. And that's where we're going to go with this today. So let's just, for everyone catching up now, let's take a look at her attempt. And there's two things I noticed. One, I love the approach. Everything seems to be great here. But you'll see that she doesn't really move her legs at all. She almost absorbs a little bit and lets her upper body come forward. So let me show you kind of what that looks like. As she approaches the wake is going to start pushing against the board. And if she's not very confident, and if she comes in just really kind of mellow and relaxed and unsure of what she should be doing, she may not expect the wake to push against the board. When that happens, it pushes the board behind her and leverages her upper body forward. So typically when that happens, when your upper body comes forward, it actually makes the rope feel less tight. It'll loosen up a little bit. So if the rope is loosening up, it makes you feel less stable, like you have less to lean against, and that's where the handle raise comes into play. If you lift the handle up, it feels like you're pulling the handle away from the toe point, which should pull the slack out of the line, which ends up working against you here. So we're going to help you overcome some of those tendencies to do that, but I just want you to understand how and why it's happening. So as she edges up the wake here, you'll see she starts to absorb more with her legs. And then as she does, the wake is starting to push pretty hard, and her arms are starting to come forward even more, which pulls her chest forward. And you'll see at this point, the board gets pushed under her a little bit, and her chest is falling forward pretty hard. And so that's where she starts to lift the handle in an attempt to regain control, and to try and kind of fall backward, which isn't really working. So what ends up happening is she gets stretched out and then takes a hard fall forward. So this is normal. This happens all the time. So it's good that you're going kind of nice slow speed, but hopefully we can overcome this. So here's what I'll have you do. Here's the drill. There are two different drills that are sort of part of the same drill. The first one is I like to call these like 3 different zones, and I'll try and kind of draw some lines here to simulate these zones. So the first zone, I want you to edge outside the wake like she did on her approach, and in this zone we're going to have her edge in what we'll call a mellow edging zone, a very soft edging zone. So in that soft edging zone, what we'll do is not come in as hard as you normally would for a wake jump, come in even softer, and just ride up the face of the wake. Like this should be the easiest zone to get through. As soon as you take off of the wake, and even if you don't go high into the air, that's totally fine. But just ride over top of the wake. Don't expect to jump, just kind of ride over it. And then in this zone, which is marked by the wakes, in the middle of the wakes zone, I want you to edge at a medium speed and a medium lean. So you're going to go slow and mellow here, and then as soon as you land, you're going to land on a harder edge than you took off. And in this medium zone, you're going to be leaning a little harder and going a little faster. And then once you've passed this second wake, you're going to kind of fall. It's like you're skateboarding off a curb. You'll fall a little bit down to this lower level of water because the water's raised here where the wake is. So as you go from your medium speed and you fall onto this third zone here, which we call the fast zone, and I'll have you edge here, and excuse me, as soon as you land, I want you to land on a harder edge than you did when you took off, like when you crossed from slow zone into medium zone. You're gonna fall onto a harder edge from the medium zone to the fast zone. And by doing that, what you're doing is you're trusting the line. You're learning how to load it up harder. That is going to help you with your stability. It's going to prevent you from falling forward. You're going to learn how to resist this, because every time you go over one of these thresholds, it's going to want to encourage you to land on a softer edge than when you took off. So the natural tendency is to go fast here, medium here, and then soft here, but we want to reverse that so that we have full control over it. So when the water from the wake pushes against the board, instead of bringing you forward and landing on a softer edge than when you took off, you're going to try and get your shoulders back further and land on a harder edge than when you took off. And if you do this and repeat this a bunch of times, it'll be really weird and awkward and kind of uncomfortable at the beginning, especially when you're landing on a harder edge than you took off. It feels a little scary, but I have another drill that will help make that fear go away as well. So that's a great drill to practice a bunch of times, and then once you feel like you've got it, then you can add your zones out here instead. So your zone would be your soft zone, your medium zone, and then your hard zone, and that is going to help you jump the wake properly, and then you could land back on your edge when you land. So that's what a normal wake jump looks like, is this soft, medium, and then hard right at the wake. But we're just separating that out so that you can learn to trust it all the way through. So there's that. Now for the drill that is the falling drill. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you edge out on this side of the wake, on your heel side, and you're going to edge as far as you can. It's very similar to the video that we have called the hard lean drill, but instead of the hard lean and trying to get a lot of leverage, what I'm going to have you do is I'm just going to have you edge out until you can't go out any further. You're going to go out as far away from the wakes as you can out here. And once you're out as far as you can, I want you to just lean back further and further and further, and then let go of the rope until you land on your back and you slide on your back. What this is going to do is it's going to teach her that it doesn't hurt if you fall backwards. It only hurts if you fall forwards. So it will encourage, and this is something you can do too if you're having a hard time with that drill, if you're having a hard time landing on a harder edge than you took off of. You can practice this drill and it will help you trust that it's okay to lean back further. So in that drill, when you're leaning back away from the boat and you fall back away from the boat, it'll teach you that sliding on your back doesn't really hurt at all, so you're not afraid to lean back and resist the line tension. So those are the two drills I'd have you guys work on for now. It should help eliminate some of those hard forward falls. It may not eliminate all of them, but it should get most of them from happening again. And keep in mind, watching this video, proper weight distribution on errors, there's a little bit of that in there too that you just have to kind of practice and figure out the middle ground, right? So right now, because you're coming forward so much, if you were to watch this video, it shows there's this section here where it talks about the oh, sorry, the volume was on there, where it talks about the distribution of the rider at takeoff. So if he's leaning forward like he is here, what happens is he'll end up landing over the nose like this, which is what happened to her. So inversely, if you start too much over the tail, you'll fall back over the tail, and I think they showed it here, just like this. So sorry, I'm trying to hit the right spots in the video. But what that will do for you is right now we're working on getting better here. So if you can find both extremes, eventually the middle ground will become comfortable. So that's what we're doing by falling backwards on purpose and by adding more lean after you take off of the wake than you had when you were edging up it. That's going to encourage you to learn how to distribute your weight further back so you're not dealing with those forward falls. So long explanation made short. Those two drills should really make things easier and make wakeboarding a little less fearful. If you have any questions, you can hit us up down here in the comment section below, or you can upload another video of her trying a few attempts, and we can go from there. Thanks again.